Hello and welcome to a We Uplift Moment. I'm Natalie from Healing Isis and from Whispering Energy. And today I'm going to be talking to Jesse Thompson from the Olive Branch Center in South Carolina, I believe. Is that correct?
It's North Carolina,
North Carolina.
Charlotte, North
Ah,
Carolina.
there you go. I knew I was going to say something wrong. But Jesse, it's so nice to talk to you. I've talked with your husband a couple of times, but I really wanted to talk to you because you are, it seems to me, one of the driving forces behind the Olive Branch Center yourself. And can you tell us a little bit about the Olive Branch Center? It sounds like a peace organization, peace movement sort of thing. Tell us a little bit about it.
I'd be happy to. First of all, I want to say thank you so much for having me on your program. Don't worry about the South Carolina thing. People do that all the time, but it is Charlotte, North Carolina, in case people are interested.
Yes.
And yes, the Olive Branch Center is a co-creation of my husband Chris Saadi and myself,
Mm-hmm.
and we have been together almost 5 years. But early in our relationship, we talked about the fact that we both felt strongly about wanting to make a difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of agreement on the topic of inclusion, and particularly spiritual and religious inclusion. That is just a
Okay.
thing that has been on my heart for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and something that he's worked towards and taught for a lot of years. So after some brainstorming and thinking and wondering what we could do to make a difference and to contribute, we decided to open the center. And the mission of the center is to teach and promote the idea of religious and spiritual
Mm-hmm.
inclusion and global solidarity through events, programs, publications in different ways. And we do have an emphasis on sacred activism, which is why we connected with Andrew Harvey early on.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so that is our mission, and
That
it
that sounds like a huge thing. I mean, you put it in a nutshell version saying inclusion of spirituality, religious inclusion, but I'm thinking diversity, inclusion, religion, spirituality. That is a huge chunk of life.
well, it is a huge chunk of life, and I'll just say that one thing that has bothered me and been heavy on my heart is how the division between religions has
Mhm.
caused so much violence in the world. And that division, in my mind, is totally unnecessary. It makes me very sad.
Mhm.
So that's why I use the word inclusion to speak about a way to have these different religious, spiritual traditions um, grow to a place of mutual respect, and also to I think we're at a time and place in the history of the universe that we need to sort of revision what do they really mean. I mean, there are many truths in each of their religions, but how can we revision them knowing what we know today versus what we knew when they were originally founded? So and in my mind, doing that would help bring a lot of peace
Yes.
and a lot of more feeling of unity and oneness in the world.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something really important because there are so many truths in every, I call it belief system sometimes. Whenever we
Right,
use the
right.
term religion, we get into muddy waters, but in every belief system there are so many truths, and I think the only problem, like you pointed out, sometimes is that we think ours is the only right truth. And if we get away from that, I think that I agree that would be a huge step. But of course, the
Well,
question is, how do you do that?
that's a good question because I think the religions and belief systems, pretty much not every single one of them, but a lot of them give or teach that they
Hmm.
are the way, that it is the only way, and that people have bought into and believe because they are interested in finding the way.
Hmm.
So I think that the first thing is to raise awareness,
Hmm.
to teach. I think we are making progress. We were talking earlier about the shift that's going on, and I think people are, the civilization is we're going towards a global civilization, and with the internet and all the access to information, and people are becoming more interested. And I think they're becoming more open-minded about considering that maybe there are some truths in other belief systems. They may not want to switch, and I'm not advocating that anyone, leave their tradition, but that they could consider that there might be some truths in other traditions as well.
Well, I think that is really important. And I think we've seen a lot of times now in the recent weeks and months that people are coming together across or bridging some of their very profound contradictory ideas. I mean, when you think about some of the activism in this country or around the world, whether it's in Egypt or in other countries, people seem to be coming together more, overcoming those, I don't know, contradictions or contrasting views, which I think is really exciting to see.
Oh, it is so exciting to see. And there are a lot of examples of people springing up all over the world wanting to reach that place of unity, whether it is
Hmm.
spiritual, religious, or whether it's just, solidarity among the human race, which
Hmm.
to me, spirituality or beliefs are, so integral to who we are. They're about how we choose to live our life. So to me, it doesn't even have to be about God, although I think, personally that, you know, God is the ground of all being and all of that. So, but I'm saying that I think people are reaching a place where they recognize, not only do we need to reach this place of
Hmm.
unity and solidarity, but we were programmed to be that way, that our spirits and our souls are programmed to want to recognize the oneness with each other
Hmm.
and with the divine.
Wow. So you've taken a big chunk as your focus point and you're just daily working away at it. How are you creating your programs to make this happen, for example?
That's a good question too. We, as I said, we do it through events
Hmm.
and publications, programs. And when we started, we really were going to sort of wait for guidance to see what appealed to us the most, like what brought us excitement about doing in the community. And I was reading the book, The Hope by Andrew Harvey, and
Hmm.
I've been following him for a long time. And I said, oh, I wonder if we could get Andrew Harvey to come to Charlotte, and started to get so excited about it. And before I knew it, we had him booked, and we didn't even
Wow.
have our website yet. So
Hmm.
we had to put all that together real quickly. We're very fortunate to have a wonderful assistant, Morgan Shields, who helped get us going. But I operate a lot as the behind the scenes person that
Hmm.
makes it happen. And some days I work more than others. Sometimes it's full time, sometimes it's part time. But so that's how we started out. And then in the meantime, we've had some community evenings where we
Hmm.
invite people to come. And
Wow.
typically, Chris may teach and bring in the group for a discussion.
Hmm.
So we'll have that. And then we've had other speakers come. We had Matthew Fox come. We hosted a really fun and meaningful workshop with Banafsheh Syed, who's
Hmm.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. And
Yeah.
Andrew introduced us to her, and she
Wow.
led a wonderful and very meaningful spiritual dance workshop. So we do that, and we intersperse it with community events. And of course, we're working on publications. Chris
Hmm.
is working away really hard with some book projects, and we're also looking at revamping our website and making it more of an information kind of source, but do
Yeah.
it in a very I want to do it in an artsy way where we bring in poetry and art and
Hmm.
quotes and have book reviews and that sort of thing, going along with the idea of raising awareness on this topic.
Wow.
So I hope that answered your question.
It does, and I just can't wait to see it all unfold because I think what you do is really so important. That when we think about all the work that goes into just being a resource center, we often forget how much work that is because you refer to yourself as more behind the scenes, but that's a lot of work. And now recreating the website, so that'll be really exciting to see.
Thank you.
And, I want to stop us here because you just shared so much about the Olive Branch Center with us, and I don't want people to get overwhelmed with the information.
Okay.
They can find you, of course, on Facebook, the center, but I think your website is the olivebranchcenter.net. Is that correct?
Great. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so they can find you there as well. And then, Jesse, I know we'll talk again soon, but for right now, I really want to thank you. You've at least told me a lot that I didn't know about the work that you do at the center, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Natalie. It was nice being with you.
All right, thank you so much, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.